Guys, it's Vandiazzo back again with another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoy, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. Now let's get the one started. Today, we have Shadow Paladin, Revengers. Oh, Raging Form came back with a vengeance. Haha, get the joke. And he is very powerful, very good, and with Mordred, oh, so beautiful. Just a match made in heaven, or in this case, hell. Yes, the deck, it actually is very good. I'm trying to make analogies with this, but it's genuinely very good. You can get multi-attacks with it. You can get a superior ride during the battle phase and fuck over your opponent's entire guarding idea. And you mainly have sack fodder. That's probably the one area where this deck might get fucked at, which is sack fodder, but that really just does depend on how you play. So let's go ahead and get this one started. First up, we have our starter, which is Crisis Revenger Fritz, 6k base, 10k shield, grade 0 with boost. Auto, when wrote upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 1 or greater, you get a quick shield ticket. Yeah, so in standard starter, there's nothing special about him. The reason why I did pick Fritz, though, is one, because of Revengers. If you know me, most of the time when I build a deck, I will try to stick to the archetype if there is one. There are a few exceptions to this rule, like my Blue Wave deck that I've built for Tetra Drive. That is one of my very few times that I haven't done that. And there are reasons behind it. Like, for example, Blue Wings and Blue Waves mainly focus on minusing power, which is not what Tetra Drive does, especially because like half of them kind of need Valios or other things to do it. So Tetra Drive mainly works on its own in my own personal build, but that doesn't matter right now. Anyways, Fritz is also here just in case, like, if you play a deck that may Soul Blast it and then call it back out, it's here because Raging Form requires you to retire Revengers, so that's why Fritz is here. So, yeah, Fritz is a nice starter, and he also just looks really cool in my opinion. Trigger-wise, there are no Revenger triggers except for one. I thought there was at least a heal trigger, but apparently there wasn't. Or not in V anyways. So, trigger-wise, I'm going to get these guys over with. We have our Draw PG and Dark Shield Maclear, 5k base, 0 shield, grade 0 with boost. Draw trigger, you know what it is. You draw a card until it gets plus 10. Continuous Sentinel, you may have up to 4 Sentinels in deck. Auto Guard Circle in place. Discard a card from hand, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit till end of battle. And pretty much that's good. You can prevent one of your units from being hit. It can work against big attacks. The only downside to this really is, well, actually, no, there is no downside. Well, yeah, no, there is a downside to it, is that it isn't a Revenger, so there are cards that cannot search this, unfortunately, and it won't count as sack fodder for Raging Form. But still, this is a really good grade 0, and I like it very much, so it also works better with the deck because you do need draw triggers. You could go with the 12 crit run, but like, or 16 crit if you really wanted to, but you do need rear guards to sack regardless, so I would suggest, not doing that. If you want to go 6 crit, 6 draw, fair enough, but I go 4 draw. Speaking of which, we have 8 crit in Death Feather Eagle and Grim Revenger. He is the Revenger here, and we have 4 Abyss Healer. I don't like Heal Guardians. I've said it once, I'll say it as many times as I need to. Heal Guardians are like, I admit they're good in the sense, like, if you're at 0 damage and you are at grade 2, and you have not ridden to grade 3 of the game, yeah, they're good. In an early rush, yes, they work. But once you hit grade 3, the only use they have is when they're placed on rear, and you take a damage if you have 0 damage. Otherwise, they are fucking useless. And, like, there are decks that I say could take advantage of this, like maybe the cards that say shuffle a grade 1 or greater back into the deck that isn't a normal unit, or it can just shuffle something back to deck regardless if it's a normal unit or not. Yeah, in that case, I'll give you that. But, like, otherwise, I don't want to waste it because it has less shield, it only works if you're at grade 2 and you haven't ridden to grade 3 yet, and it's a 10k base. So, I'd rather just have a regular heal where, granted, the power is half, but I have more shield out of it, so fuck you, Heal Guardians. On to our grade 1s, we have 3 copies of Frontline Revenger Claudas, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear at the end of the turn, if your Vanguard is a grade 3, counterblast 1, shuffle to soul, draw a card. If you have Barrier, Trooper, Revenger, Dorint on your Vanguard rear, countercharge 1. So basically, if you have Dorint on board, shuffle this to soul, draw a card. It's really nice, it can get you soul, and this deck does actually soul blast. Like, if you play it as aggressively as I did in that test match last night, which, by the way, the day I'm recording this is on Wednesday, August 25th, the day before this goes up, then it is very powerful. Like, you want to go for the rush tactic, and you might need that counter charge and or that soul charge, so I say this is a really good grade 1 to have, plus Dorint is in this deck so you can get the full ability off. 3 copies of Claudas. Next up, we have 4 copies of Transient Revenger and Masquerade, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. act rear, counterblast 1 and put it to soul, call a Blaster Dark from your drop zone to rear, and that unit gets +5 till end of turn. Continues rear, during the battle that it boosted, it gets +3. So 11k Swinger, it's a Revenger, he can send himself to soul, which is really nice, and you can call Blaster Dark. This deck does use up a decent amount of counterblast, but genuinely though, if you know what you're doing, like how I did last night, even though it was the first time I played the deck, it really won't matter, like genuinely. If you want to kill your opponent in the easiest way possible, go 3 counterblasts. Like, genuinely, you only need 3 counterblasts, which is seeming like a lot, but like that's in the situation where you're down in the advantage. Like, you have 2 rear guards, and you have like 1 or 2 hand cards you actually want to call. All you need is 3 counterblasts and 1 soul. Boom, baby, go do your play. So, Masquerade is a nice grid 1 to have, and plus Blaster Dark does help out Mordred, and because like Mordred actually requires Blaster Dark to be useful, considering both effects only apply to Blaster Dark, you kind of need in the deck. So 4 cards of Masquerade because he can help out both. And our last grade 1 and our new grade 1, who also has an amazing art and an amazing skill, and probably one of my favorite cards in this deck. In fact, I have 2 favorites in this deck. One is Raging Form, the other is this thing. 4 copies of Dark Armor Avenger Rinnal. 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto banner rear. When this unit attacked or the attack you boosted hits a Vanguard, look at top 3, choose up to 1 Revenger in its card name from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. So a way to technically, well, yeah, you can deck then, and while you're sending triggers to bottom, you suffer a lot, I promise you. If you play as aggressively as I did, or not necessarily aggressively, but if you play the new grade 2 every turn, yeah, sending the triggers to bottom ain't really going to matter, because they're going to go right back to wherever they were before, probably. So that ability is helpful, and you don't have to kill it for that ability. You don't have to pay any cost. You can just, on hit, get a free Revenger from the top 3, and then auto, when it's retired from rear by your card's ability, so boss 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Fuck, I forgot to do that yesterday. Damn it! I had called it to rear with the intention of killing it, and I forgot to do it. Fuck! Well, I mean, it didn't matter anyways in the grand scheme of things. I still won the game in the end. It's just... And I still won on the same turn, too. That fucking killing a rear guard didn't matter. It's just I'm disappointed that I forgot to do it. Because I had 3 of them lined up in the back row. Well, granted, yes, only one of them was going to go off. It would still have been cool to get off 1. Well, either way, it's still a good ability. You can just kill rear guard. I mean, your opponent gets to pick like Blaster Dark does, but still, really nice grade 1. 4 of amazing card. On to our grade 2s. 3 copies of Barrier Troop Revenger Dorint. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto rear, when placed, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and this unit gets +10 for the turn. If you have Claudas on board, on banner rear, draw a card. Okay, so pretty much can swing for 20, and you get a draw if you have Claudas on board. I feel like out of the 2, this one's easier to pull. This one's easier to pull off, especially if you're playing in a premium, because they can just fucking denial griffin this, and then this can't countercharge. But, or vice versa, I guess, because this is an on-play, so they can't really, like, assail... What was the dragon called? Defeat Flare? They can't defeat flare it because it's on place, and the 10k will stay, and the draw will also stay, so that's its thing. And I like Dorint because you can place from battle phase in this deck if you count Raging, so that's really helpful that it can get a free 20 on swing. So, all around, just a really good grade 2. I say 3 of. 3 of Blaster Dark. Oh, wait, by the way. Actually, no, I'll get to that later. Blaster Dark. Before I get on with this, I have a very interesting note that a lot of you might question about why I do this. Do not ride Blaster Dark in this deck. I promise you, you will thank me for this later. Unless you plan on going, like, hyper-aggressive and soul blasting the shit out of the game, do not ride this. I swear you will thank me for it. But anyways, Blaster Dark, grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, auto banner rear, when placed, counterblast 1, your opponent chooses one of their rear guards and kill it. Basically the same thing as Rinnal, except it's an on-place and it's a counterblast. And act van once per turn. If your opponent has no rear guards, discard card from hand, and it gets +1 drive for the turn. Okay, last night, when I did my test plays, I made a slight misplay in riding the new grade 2 over Blaster Dark. And while it technically doesn't matter because they both are on place on van anyways, I missed out on the chance to get an extra drive. In the end, it was a good thing that I did that, because I didn't draw a Masquerade for a long time, and I had to ride Mordred first. And while that's not a bad thing in this deck, in fact, you want to ride Mordred first, kind of, Blaster Dark would have been just lost for me. So thankfully, I played it smart, and I called the Blaster Dark early. Or, sorry, I didn't call it early. I waited, and I while it was just a mistake of not riding in the first place, I didn't realize it was in my hand until after I rode. I still called it, and in the end, that benefited me. So unless you plan on soul blasting the shit out of it, or like, unless you openly have unless you have this in your hand, and this in your hand, do not ride this unless it's the only option. Because even though, yes, you get that extra drive out of it, you only have 3 Blaster Darks, and this is the only thing that can recycle them. So I would genuinely suggest don't ride this. If you want to, that's perfectly fine. But I would make sure like you get in drop zone as soon as possible so you can do that with it. And our next grade 2, who kind of fixes the Blaster Dark problem, 4 copies of Nullity, Revenger, Masquerade. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept, auto van or rear. When placed like a top 7, add either 1 Illusionary, Revenger, Mordred, Phantom, or Blaster Dark from among them and put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. You don't have to put one, but if you do, you got to discard. Not discard one, retire a rear guard. So if you place it on van, if you have nothing on board, you know, you're not really retiring anything, you're just getting a free search. But if it's on board, if you place it on rear, you gotta kill it. You gotta kill something, and it's probably gonna be itself, honestly, because I don't think people keep it around after that. And then continues van or rear during the battle. The attack the Vanguard gets +3. So automatically that's a 13k swing. It can hit force numbers. That's amazingly good because no cost, doesn't have to be boosted. The only difference is it has to attack the Vanguard. It's a 13k swing. I love that. And you know, you get to look at top 7 for a possibility of your backup grade 3, who's technically your main grade 3. Like, yeah, well, Raging Form's your main grade 3. But then there's Mordred, who can be classified as 1. And then there's Blaster Dark, who you need for Mordred to go off. So, yeah, you may be wondering why Blaster Dark's not at 4. You know, it's not a Revenger, and this deck does actually need Revengers. So, yeah, that's why it's not at 4. That is genuinely the reason. I know it sounds stupid, but trust me, it does actually work. Next up, we have our last grade 2 and our new grade 2, 4 copies of Dark Cloak Revenger Tartu. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. Auto, when it's placed on van or rear from hand, soul blast 1, search your deck up to 1 grade 1 or less Revenger in its card name, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. At the end of the turn, retire that unit. And this is why Raging Form was restricted from being broken as all hell. I'm not saying it isn't good. It really is good. But if this didn't say from hand, oh, you could just go 5 attacks in one go. You could attack with your rear guards, swing with Raging, ride a grade 3 from your hand, probably going to be Raging skill, call Tartu, skill of Tartu, Soul Blast, and then you search your deck for a grade 1 again, and then you just get 2 attacks out of it. But unfortunately, you say place from hand, and Raging doesn't place from hand. But still, this grade 2 is really nice, and I love it so much. 4 of our grade 3, and our backup grade 3, technically speaking. Illusionary Avenger, Mordred Phantom, and this is the first time I'm noticing it, but is that a moon in the background? Like, is that this man's, like, cape / armor, or is, like, this a black moon and a white moon? Or am I just fucking hallucinating? I swear, if that's actually a moon, then I know why I was attracted to this man, because I like horses, I like knights, I like moons. It would make sense why these are all here if I wasn't attracted to him, but that's not important. Anyways, grade 3, Twin Drive Force Gift, 13k base at 4 copies. Auto Van, when your Blaster Dark is placed on rear, you get a Force Gift. Okay, that's automatically good. Like, you don't have to place it on the Blaster Dark like I thought you did last night, which thankfully I read the skill before my friend just let me make another mistake that he refuses to help me. I help him all the time, and he doesn't help me back. But then again, that's fair, because who wants to help their friend win a game? Nah. Anyways, when your Blaster Dark is placed, you can place the gift anywhere. Fuck it, you can place it in your back row if you really want to, even though your back row is kind of like, in my opinion, the nuke target for Raging Form. So I was just putting it in the front row if you want to be smart. No offense to the people who do it back row. If you do it to back row, there's probably a good reason for it, and I accept that reason. But I say put it to front row, and you don't have to put it on the Blaster Dark. Typically, I'll go ride Mordred, put a Force Gift on rear, call Blaster Dark to another rear, and just put the Force Gift on that Blaster Dark, and then both my rears have 10k power. And that's actually what I did last night. And then Auto Van, when it attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, card number +1, send all your Blaster Darks and they get +10. So automatically, this is swinging for 20. If it's on a Force Gift, which it probably is, swinging for 30. What's even better, this isn't a once per turn ability on either of them. So if you found a way to restand it, yeah, it's good that you can get multiple attacks with your Blaster Darks out of it, but also the Force Gift ability ain't a once per turn either. So technically speaking, if you have 2 Blaster Darks in hand and this in hand, you could just ride this, get a Force 2, and then call the 2 Blaster Darks. You got 3 Force 2s right out the gate. I personally believe that Force 1's better in this deck because of power reasons, especially because that's the only reason why I won last night. I mean, well, there are other reasons like technique and strategy, of course, but like power definitely made the difference. Literally 5k difference. So if I didn't pick the Force 1, I think I might have lost that game. So Mordred Phantom Really good grade 3. I do suggest Force 1. If you want to go for that early rush, go Force 2. And our last unit is our main grade 3, whose art, I want to say it again, it's fucking beautiful. We have the plasma sword, we have the red vortex background with his hand gushing out the red, and we also have his cape, even though that might be part of the red vortex background, and just the dragon armor, and just the dragon itself. Oh fuck, if I could say that it would get me hard looking at this, which it definitely doesn't. What the fuck are you talking about? I said nothing, shut the hell up. I would. So, grade 3, twin drive, 4 skiff, 13k base. Oh, this beautiful motherfucker. Auto, when placed on Van, if your damaged one has 4 or more cards, counterblast one, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or less Revenger in its card name, call it to rear and shuffle your deck. Okay. So unfortunately, you cannot call Blaster Dark with this, but you can call anything else. If it didn't say from deck, or if this didn't say it had to be from hand, oh, this grade 2 would be a lot better. But it's still good. My only problem with this is, like, it has to be placed on Van, and you have to have 4 or more cards in damage. I'd say it could keep one of those, not the other. I feel like what the ability should be is, when placed on Van, you do the skill, and then if you have 4 or more damage, this unit and that unit get some amount of power, or this unit's original critical becomes 2, and it could still be an on-place ability. I feel like that would be better, and that's that original critical becomes 2, so you know you can't force 2 spam the fuck out of this. So I wish that was the way it was, but either way, it's still a good ability, because you're still getting a call out of it, and if you ride this during the battle phase, you know, that's 2 more attacks. But you may be wondering how you're going to ride it during the battle phase. The OG skill of Raging Form, but better. Auto Van, at the end of the battle that it attacked, retire 3 rear guards with Revenger in their card name, and choose up to 1 grade 3 with Revenger in its card name from your hand, ride it as stand. So you can ride this, or you can ride Mordred, or you can ride anything else if there is more Revenger grade 3s, or you can just put this in premium and go mayhem with it. But a way to get a force gift during the battle phase, and just a way to, you know, get 2 more attacks. If you're riding Raging, you're getting 2 more attacks. If you're riding Mordred, you probably had a Blaster Dark on board like I did. You just put the force gifts on that, stack its power up, go swing. So either way, in theory, you're getting 2 attacks out of it regardless. It depends on, like, power-wise. Raging Form is a nice grade 3. Raging Form isn't once per turn, by the way. I want to let that be clear. It's not a once per turn, and you can technically do it twice, because you get to call a rear guard when it's placed. Before, you couldn't do it twice, because you had to sack 3 and you couldn't call. So what you can do now is swing with your 2 rear guards, swing with Van, kill the back row, and then ride this, call a unit to the back row, or maybe you don't kill the back row, you kill 2 units in one call and you kill 1 unit, and then you ride this, call something to the open front row, attack with that, attack with Van, boom, you still got 3 rear guards, sack those 3, ride Mordred, or another copy of this, get another unit, and just like that, you got fucking 2 force gifts during the battle phase. Oh, I wish I could have pulled that off during my turn, but I was out of counterblast. Well, no, I could have actually done it. I could have done it, but I didn't have a second Revenger, unfortunately. I mean, Raging. But still, amazing grade 3, can activate combos, can do multiple attacks. This deck can get 3 Vanguard attacks. This deck can equal Tetra Drive, and X. It can equal the X, except difference is, this one doesn't lose drives. Is Raging better than everyone else? I came to this epiphany through, like, just recording this video. What the fuck? Oh, I need to do some more test playing. Mondo, if you see this, if you see this before we do the test plays, I'm coming for you. But, yeah, Raging 4, nice grade 3, amazing grade 3, 4 up, nice that it came back. Gift-wise, I run 7 Force 1, 7 Force 2, because you can get multiple during a turn. Granted, at max, it's probably only going to be 2, but if you do the horse shit that I was just talking about, it's going to be 3 every turn, which granted isn't much if you compare to stuff like Astro Poets, but Astro Poets don't count. They force spam like their life depends on it, because it fucking does. So, anyways, what Force 1 does is when it's acquired, you put it on Van or Rear, and we'll both do that, but Force 1 gives plus 10 during your turn in terms of power, and it can be put on the same circle multiple times, and it can stack, while Force 2, anyways, you put this on a rear guard circle, and, Van or Rear, sorry, not a rear guard circle, and the original critical of the unit becomes 2, and it can still be put on the same circle, but it does not stack, unfortunately. So the ability I was talking about earlier was made to, like, you know, be fair with this, so, like, it wouldn't be broken as all hell. But Force 2, if you really want to go for it, you can, but I prefer Force 1 because it adds more power instead of the extra critical rush. But go critical rush if you really want to. We have 1 quick shield. It's when one of your attacks gets plus 5 for the battle. There's literally no way to get this out of the order zone besides going second with a V starter. Why they made this a thing is beyond me, and, like, there's no other way to get it. So I do question why they made it, and then they just scrapped it. I thought there'd be, like, a purpose for it at least. And that was the deck. Whew, Revengers, very fun. I swear to you, I will one day, eventually, I will get to the point where I will record my test plays. And oh, yes, Revenger will be broken as all hell. Or, sorry, it won't be broken. But I will catch it on camera of me doing it twice in a turn. I will succeed. I do not care how many times I have to do it. Until it happens, I will do it. I will catch it on camera. And I will make it the most anime sounding scene ever. And I will probably get copyrighted for it. But I do not care. So I'm going to end it here today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Donate to the Patreon. Join the Discord. Follow the Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up, your vanguards.